I first heard the boathouse through my two friends. They were talking about the boathouse one day during school, and me being young, I also wanted to be a part of that. So the next day we went up and explored the boathouse. The architecture is definitely very cool, very interesting. So that was the first thing I noticed when coming up here for the first time. And when I first came up here, it was not as ran down as it was today. There were still rooms that were standing, the floors were intact, and because there weren't as many vandals that came up here, so over the past 8 years, a lot of people messed around at the boathouse and really messed it up. I believe the boathouse was left abandoned because there was obviously a fire here, and maybe after the fire, the people just moved out and they're like, no, it's too far gone, we're just gonna leave it be, see if anyone would buy it and fix it up, but we're not gonna do that, so maybe that's why it's left abandoned now. Jackie Walsh, the president of the Hawthorne Historical Society, would definitely be able to give you a lot more insight about the boathouse. She does a very good job of preserving the history of Hawthorne. There's just so much history that we can't afford to lose it, and that's what Jackie's mission is.
We know the boathouse was designed by Robert Larson, who built the house. Robert Larson was originally from Glen Rock. We know he moved here in the late 30s, early 40s. We know he was a jeweler and importer. We think he imported watch crystals. He served in the United States Navy as a structural engineer. I know he had a couple of children that lived there, his wife Jeanette. The kids' names escape me right now. If you could find the Larson family, I'm sure they would be happy to share, whatever information they had about it.
Hello?
Hello, my name is David Larson. I'm replying to an email that you sent about a house in Hawthorne.
That was me. I'm doing a documentary on the boathouse in Hawthorne. I found a guy, his name is Robert Larson, and I saw in his obituary that he had a son named David. I didn't know if that was you.
And that's me, yes. And Robert Larson was my father. My father was taken with the design of new houses in California, in Los Angeles area. And he wanted to build a house like that here in Hawthorne. My father had lived in Switzerland, in the mountains, and he wanted to be in the mountains, but there aren't many mountains in New Jersey. He also commuted to New York for his business, so he put a house on the side of the mountain, and that's why it's up there. He also loved the view, which he could see from the house, and he made flat roofs so he could sit on the roofs in the summertime and enjoy the scenery. If you want to know some of the architectural details, I know the name of the architect. His name was Carl Kim Lovett, and he was, I think, a pretty well-known architect. I believe it was built and completed in 1943, which is during the war, the Second World War. I was 7 years old at that time, so I lived there till I was 17. So I lived there 10 years after my father passed away. My mother just didn't want to live there by herself, and she moved to New York and sold the house. I don't know who the owners were after my mother left. You probably have that in the records.
I remember my mother saying she loved the house. It went for sale, and she came home and said to my father, we could never afford that. And he said, yes, we can. We'll make it work.
Tia's father owned his own business, a very successful business. Her mom, Sophie, fell in love with that house at first sight and always wanted to move there. And she convinced her husband, George, Tia's father, him loving his wife so much, he bought it for her.
We went from this little Cape Cod on Dixie Ave to this, gigantic boathouse. I was 4 years old, so 1965 is when we bought it. My parents bought it directly from the Larsons. I think they realized what a gem it was.
The house was amazing. The property was amazing. It was beautiful. You went up there, the tranquility, the peacefulness, the view, everything you could see. It was breathtaking.
Well, it's an interesting house. It was a strange house. It was once the apple of my father's eye. The house is not very large. It wasn't spacious. The rooms were small.
You would walk in and the kitchen was to the right. It had a little bit of a wraparound window where our kitchen table was. Then it had a swinging door, like in a restaurant, which led to the dining room. Dining room had another wraparound window. And then I think you could probably still see the picture window that was in the living room.
The living room had a huge picture window. On a nice day, you could actually see out to New York. And also in the living room was a 50-gallon fish tank, which was embedded in the wall. It was an aquarium, and we had tropical fish in there. So it was quite an interesting place.
Up the stairs would bring you to the next level, and then there was shelving for a small library, and then you would climb a ladder, which was like a blue steel ladder to get to the observation deck, which was all the way on top.
I liked the library. It had encyclopedias, and you could read about a lot of stuff in these encyclopedias. And other books that were sort of interesting. I have two siblings. They're still alive. Each one of us had our own bedroom. So there's 3 bedrooms for the children. And then there was a bedroom, which was the master bedroom for my parents. The master bedroom was upstairs, and the 3 bedrooms were below.
If I had the picture in front of me, I could point to you and show you exactly where, like the master bedroom was, if you're looking straight at the house, it was where the screened-in porch was. The screened-in porch was off the master. That was my parents' room. And, of course, it had a full walk-in closet, which, again, in the 40s, you didn't see.
There was a parking garage in the basement. And then there was a laundry room. And there was a place for a woman who was a cook for the house. And there was a bedroom for her downstairs. My mother had a business, and she went to work every day. And so she didn't cook for the house. So she had a live-in cook who stayed there and cooked for the house.
The downstairs was a 2-car garage at one point that my father renovated into a rec room. It had cocktail pinball machines, a jukebox, a pool table, a built-in bar, and then that room off to the side where I know everybody calls the bomb shelter. I think we figured out it's really a fallout shelter.
Yeah, that was a fallout shelter. It had one main window, but it had block lighting, so light would be able to come in and everything. But it had shelves for food. It had an area to sit and to stay, and then a back area.
There was also something called a bomb shelter, which I'm sure is still intact. My father was afraid that the Germans would attack and would shell the area, so he built what we call a bomb shelter, which was made with reinforced concrete, and the windows were glass brick with steel bars in front of them. So I'm sure that still exists, no matter what happened to the rest of the house. You'd have to hit it with a bomb to do anything to it. Obviously, there was no attack by the Germans, and that room really just served as a place to store stuff. And it wasn't intended as a storage room, but that's what it turned out to be. In the back of the house, there's a tennis court. My father wasn't a tennis player, I can tell you that, but he wanted his children to be tennis players. And I think he wanted his children to be able to mix with the upper class people who actually played tennis in those days. You know, they were usually pretty well-to-do people and pretty high-class people. There was a guy who taught us tennis by the name of Frank Brennan. It probably doesn't look like a tennis court now, but there are retaining walls, which must still exist.
Tennis courts were beautiful. They had slate stands where, you know, the audience or the observants can sit. We would play soccer, baseball, took tennis lessons as a kid because I was forced. My mother was a member of the Hawthorne Racket Club at the time, which she would bring friends over and play, but just through us. It wouldn't be any type of open to the public. It was just family and friends. I never knew the caliber of how beautiful the house was until later in elementary school into high school. People would say, "Oh, you're the girl who lives in the boathouse." Then I realized, wow, okay, this is a pretty revered spot for everyone in the town. And that's how I became known, the girl who lived in the boathouse. People in town called it the boathouse. I didn't coin that phrase because I thought I was just in a regular house.
We didn't think of it as a boat. No, it was just a sort of an oddball house. and it was very visible from the town because it was white and up high, so you could see it from town. So I guess people were aware of it. Now, I know that it didn't look like a house to other people. It looked like a boat maybe to other people, but to us it looked like a house. The dining room was curved, and that deck was outside the dining room. So that's maybe part of what people mean when they speak of a boathouse.
We ended up getting involved as part of ownership of a horse farm. We brought some property up in New York State to raise, breed, and sell horses. My mom was living in New York State with my aunt, and they started the farm, and then they wanted help. They decided to sell the boathouse, and then we moved upstate. That's pretty much the only reason we left. I mean, the house was huge. At the time, it was just Joe and I living there, right? My brother was out. After, we sold in 1988. The developer who bought the property was supposed to put in condo units, and he was going to do like a full amenity, built-in pool, tennis courts. He ended up going bankrupt. So that's when it kind of fell in between all the red tape.
And now it's happening now to where they want to redevelop the property again the same way, same thing. It's going through the town right now. And so far it's been stalled. If they don't develop it, they're going to sell it to another developing company, and then they'll take it to the next stage. What the developing companies do is they bring it to stages, and then they're able to sell it off so they don't get a loss on it. Then the next company brings it to another stage, and then they sell it. It's an evil game.
I haven't been there for about 20 years. I haven't lived there in about 60 years. The last time I saw this house, it was sort of falling apart. The stucco had come off the sides of the house. There were trees growing on the flat roof. And I assumed that the house was kaput.
I live in town. I'm a fire chief, so I see it all the time. I ride past it every day. It's terrible to see the condition it's in. It went from being something beautiful to a dilapidated zombie house, which is very sad. It's dangerous now. Now it's very dangerous. It's disgusting. It's terrible. It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be allowed. They should have saved it.
Someone told me that the staircase from the first floor living quarters to the basement had all collapsed. Basically, I'm there when I see all these pictures. I mean, physically I'm not there, but I see it. So I don't know that it'd be any more painful to physically be there. My mother wouldn't really look at them. My father did, but my mother...
They were brokenhearted, just like we were.
My brother's like my mother. You know, I sent him links, and I'm like, oh, check these pictures out. And he's like, I don't want to look. My brother was a year older than me. Now he lives in North Carolina.
I would have loved to have seen the house preserved. And even if they brought the house to something, to some kind of organization or something for learning, for whatever, anything.
It has to be demolished. As far as the house, the structure of the house, I don't think anything could be preserved at this point. It's odd to say, but maybe a little bit of a relief, because now everybody could stop posting the terrible shape it's in online. I don't have to see it anymore. And maybe they can make something beautiful there. You'll never see it again. All we have is the pictures.
I don't want to see it ever destroyed because of the personal attachment I have. But for safety reasons, I agree with you. The house, I guess, should come down unless they can restore it, which they probably could, but it would take a lot of money and a lot of time. But it would be amazing. If I was blessed to win the $1 billion lottery or the Powerball or anything, I would definitely buy that property back. It would be sad to see that a beautiful piece of history has been lost. Now you'll never get that back, because this town is changing so rapidly, and not for the better, for the worse, unfortunately.
If it's torn down, I would feel sad, but it's already sad because it's gone to pot, it's gone to hell. And so it's not the house that I remember. And so it's already a cause of sadness. When you're a kid and you live in a house, it seems natural to you. But now that I have seen a lot of other houses, it certainly was not natural. But, you know, it doesn't seem unusual when you're a kid, because you think, well, that's the way things are. But in retrospect, I can see that it was quite impractical and quite unusual.